Grüße. Hello. Guten Abend, meine Freunde. Bienvenue. Anyway, enough of that shit. Today, I'm going to talk about obsessions.
The fuck you talking about?
For my tribe, we do love our obsessions. Stutter. Lifelong ones, fleeting ones. I'll give you a quick list. So, well, you've seen books, literature. I'll read anything. Star Wars. Oh my god. I'll still watch the original episode 4, 3-4 times a year. In my childhood, I'd watch it 2-3 times a week.
A Jedi uses the Force for knowledge and defense, never for attack.
Anything to do with astrology, space, Fantasyland, Terry Pratchett, what an absolute legend. Stand-up comedians, Norm Macdonald, George Carlin, Stuart Lee, Billy Connolly. Seen it all way too many times, and it's probably healthy. I'm obsessed with stand-up comedy because it must be terrifying to go out on your own and make 20,000 people laugh a night. So as an art form, it's incredible what they do. Recently, been obsessed with DNA and the studies that have been done into DNA and DNA holding memory. Started with mice. Always starts with mice. Poor mice. Teaching them to go through a maze by putting raspberry scent. And then I can't remember the other scent. The other scent would teach them to go the wrong way. Eventually the mice, through generations, twigged on. But by the 8th or 9th generation down from the original, the mice knew on first contact if they smelled raspberry, they follow that track. Not one of them would go to the other scent. So there is evidence that their DNA held memory. And the other study did on humans. One was in Israel. I think the other one was Boston and maybe Strasbourg, where they studied Jewish communities. And these would be the grand or great-grand relatives of Holocaust survivors. And there is a really high prevalence of claustrophobia amongst the Jewish worldwide community. And it's another thing they're now going deeper and deeper. That could be another indicator that DNA holds memory from the past. So it has an input on who you are right now. Some claim you can tap into that. Maybe that's what artists and maybe they are. Who knows? Anyway, you see, I'm off. That's an obsession. And the last one is Wilson and Blackett. They were Welsh historians. Been really into them over the last few weeks. There's a YouTube channel called Hidden Welsh Histories. The guy that ran that has recently passed away, which is tragic, but really interesting. Why is Welsh history not taught in Welsh schools? That goes way back. There's a place in Italy called Colburn. My father's tribe, Anglo-Saxons. Got a lot to answer for, you know. So those are obsessions. And some neurotypicals might think, well, everyone gets a little obsessed. No, these are proper full-on. All absorbing. You might get teens who won't leave their bedroom for days on end because there could be a video game, a TV show, it could be anything, and they will be completely switched off. There are occasions where the phone's ringing right next to me and I've been told off by my wife for not answering it. I haven't hit it. I'm involved in something else. And there's a dark side to obsession. Because you can become obsessed with situations, people.
Would you prefer a lie or the truth?
And that is not a healthy thing. I can, in my mind, go to really dark places, plan bloody murder.
You know, for a guy who calls himself the comedian, I can never tell when you're joking.
So, it's something you've got to keep a top on. You can't control it. I think that's where errors have been made by myself in the past. The more people try to take that obsession away, the more you get obsessed by it. One other thing. People don't seem to have noticed this, the mirror reflection of my inner self. Forget the human form. Dobddo. Some of you seem to have missed that is oddbod spelled backwards. It's a mirror reflection. And I am an oddbod. And it's great. So there are dark sides to obsessions. So if you're bringing up children, teens, if you can see they're getting overly, that is something you probably do have to intervene with. But if it's watching like teenage girls, the thread seems to be they get obsessed with American sitcoms. Friends, Big Bang Theory, Will and Grace, things like that. On endless repeat. Maybe it's their ideal friends, who knows. So they're okay. They're no concern. Knowing the script of the Star Wars isn't a concern. The benefit of it, though, if you can catch this while going through education. Autism is highly prevalent in engineering. It's one of the top jobs. Many doctors, so in healthcare, it's becoming more of not a job requirement, but it helps. I think it's the emotional thing there. But extreme attention to detail and knowing everything you can about a subject. If you can get your children on to a topic that really grips them, run with it, run with it, run with it. Get them as obsessed as they can be. So yeah, that's today's topic. Obsessions. There can be some weird ones. For some, I've had a lifelong obsession now with the occult. That's the dark arts, not the yogurt.
I've managed to contact certain underlings, evil spirits, secretaries of secretaries, and other assorted minions who will contact my father.
Do it look like a drink, Yackle? Anyway. Yeah, tarot cards, Ouija boards, ghosts, goblins. Really interested in that. People think it's weird. So there we are. Have you noticed obsessions if you're a parent, or? Because it's definitely there. And I think my next video, I read an article this morning from Dr. Tony Atwood. He's one of the top specialists in regard to autism on planet Earth. He's an Australian guy. Look into him, really interesting. He's talking about the almost telepathic link, empathy, and lots of evidence now that autistic people tend to pick up on people's moods before the people themselves do. Therefore, it transfers on to the autistic person. It's almost like a clairvoyance. I'm not saying it is, but or an animal-like sense that maybe neurotypicals have lost. So I'm going to look, that'll probably be my obsession for the next couple of weeks. I'm going to look into that. And I've actually had a question as well from one of my daughter's friends. And she would like me to try and explain what a meltdown feels like. So one isn't attuned to describing one's feelings at the best of times. And I can only speak for myself personally. The frightening bit for me is the feeling of feeling nothing. That gets scary. I literally can't feel a thing. The cold, the heat, pain, can't feel anything. The build up to it is it's like I've had migraines all my life, and that is outside stresses. I just can't cope with it. And the more stress, tense. So the build up to the feeling of no feeling is like a bodily migraine. Everything hurts, everything's sore. There is no concentration in the mind. And that's where you crave to go back to your safe net, which is your obsessions. You can't concentrate on it. And it intensifies the confusion, the perplexion. One vexes thee. And that's what the beginning feels like. The after, I usually pass out. My wife's had a few stressful weeks due to her extended family, and
I'm not offended that they act like it's my responsibility to protect their rights to pick on the weak like pack animals, or that we're supposed to support their freedom of speech when they don't give a fuck about yours or mine.
So yesterday was stressful. And then I don't sleep, I pass out. And I woke up 4 a.m, migraine, feeling unwell, tired.
It's meltdown. A meltdown on a planetary scale.
But after, I didn't have a meltdown yesterday. It was the high tension. And now after this, so I've decided to do this video today because rather than get obsessed with my wife's situation.
I feel like Han Solo, you're Chewie, and she's Ben Kenobi, and we're in that fucked up bar.
I'll talk about obsession. And then after that, you know where I'm going. I'm going straight back to look at Dr. Tony Attwood and empathy and autism. So I will keep my mind away from this. Not try to absorb too many of my wife's feelings or emotions. Give her counsel, obviously, but not take so much on board. Another thing I've been obsessed with is a book, I've forgotten the lady's name. It's called Simulacra and Simulation. It's a philosophy book that the Matrix film was based on. In fact, in opening scenes, you see the hardback version of the book on Neo's desk. So it's not a religious perspective, it's the theory that we live in a simulation. I don't think it's an offensive thing to say, but well, it's very interesting. So, but deep and hard to just a page at a time for me and reread it several times. I'm not that bright. So yeah, there's many. I keep popping in my head. There's many. I just wish I had the opportunity younger to find a way of making money out of it. There we go. C'est la vie. Sound. Now that's a big one for me. We got a Dolby Atmos thing. I've watched some of the worst movies known to mankind just for the sound. I'm obsessed. And it's what I want to do. In theatres or concerts, I wanted to be the guy operating the sound. So the prom season, things like that. Amazing stuff. Yeah, I could sit here for the next 3 hours and bore the living shit out of every single person, listing off the things that once they're there, once you, oh wow, that's interesting, that's it. The FIFA video game, yeah, I'm almost 50, but gotta figure that out every year. Call of Duty video game, love a bit of extreme violence of a morn. There's so many, there is so many. Excuse me. But yeah, mostly positive when it comes to obsessions. It's just the dark bits, if left unchecked, can be dark. As I said to my eldest daughter, who is a teacher with autistic children and young teens, we are heaven and hell in a human mass shell. A yin-yang. Encompassing in a circle. So it's, yeah, if you can make their obsessions positive, yeah, you know they might have watched the Friends episode. It's currently on your TV for about the 12th time this week. It's a small price to pay, isn't it? Because if it stops, These things are usually there. They are literally a comfort blanket, for me, anyway. But I think I could say, as a child, like Star Wars, it was a escape. Not happy in school, I wasn't happy in the social world, so Star Wars was an escape. Terry Pratchett was an escape. And by the way, if you want to know anything about human life and existence, morals, principles, religion, ethics, take a wander through Discworld. Every book, Mort, Pyramids, the witches, all the witches, but they're about something profoundly deeper. And yeah, he's got a special section. Have a look. See? But he's always got a special little section. Wherever I reorganise my books, once a month, give them a wash, give them a dust. Sometimes they're alphabetical, sometimes they're by genre, or whatever happens. Sir Terence always gets a shelf to himself, and Tolkien's always clumped in the middle.
I know you're a huge fucking nerd of Potsy-like proportions, and no chicks dig nerds, especially nerds that are into Lord of the Rings.
I'd like to link them together. Masters. Alan Moore. The graphic novels of Alan Moore. V, Watchmen, From Hell, Promethea. Read them all, back to front, over and over again. Again, about profoundly deep things.
I hope that whoever you are, you escape this place.
But see, just thinking about it makes me happy. So it's not a bad thing. Just more extreme with autistic. I'm pretty sure it's ADHD and ADD as well. They're comfort blankets for us. So take them away at your peril. Yeah. Watch for the dark bits. Know what to put on, know what book to get out, know what to do. When you can see them go into the dark paths, open the comfort blanket for them. That's my advice. So anyway, I'll go and have a delve into empathy, a bit more of hidden Welsh histories. I'm not suggesting that Wales votes Plaid Cymru en masse or decides to rejoin Europe. No, I'm not suggesting that at all. But consider it, like you consider the other. Oh, and last, it's a bit of a more localised thing to end this, if you bear with. Does everyone within my local town, or his local town, my local town is a billion light years away. Anyway, when I say the Ivy building, would you all know what I'm referring to? It hasn't got any ivy anymore. Now it's just the NPTCDBA whatever college.
You're joking, right? This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it looks sterile, dull, and just not a countryside town. And I've seen in social media, the college have released, oh, this is what it'll all look like, and
they turned out to be completely unreliable assholes.
And I've got to come out and say, I don't give a single...
Humans make illogical decisions.
They do indeed.
What it looks like. It's the ecosystem.
Let's go back to what you were saying about those Terminator machines.
And I think I've explained before, it's a simple tale. As the climate warms up, soon birds are going to stop migrating altogether. And the bee population on planet Earth is concerningly low. And of course, as the climate warms up and the birds no longer migrate, winter birds that remain and nest and forage, well, they use things like ivy on those buildings. So do the bees. Insects. They survive on it. Especially through the winter months. Anyway, back to the wives' tale. Wives' tale. So those birds that should usually migrate will stay, and as the plant life dies through the autumn and winter, they've got nothing to feed on but bees, insects. And when are humans going to learn? You kill off the bees, life ends. It ends. There is no pollination. And cities are spending millions, billions in building green parks and green walls and Brecon, the heart of Wales. Kicked out the farmers, we never should have done that. And now we're ripping down ecosystems. Well, you're going to regret that too. Well, I thought I'd just have my say publicly. Yeah. Have I been obsessed with that? To a degree. Where I live, we're surrounded by very tidy, neat gardens. Yeah. In our garden, it's not particularly well kept. Hedgehogs, bats, voles. So, keeping your garden sort of, not extreme, but on the wild side, you'll attract wildlife. And on purpose. Wales and West insist on chopping trees down and well, there are. So it is kind of a bit of a bug for me, but anyway, there's a petition. They've knackered the Ivy building already. I understand the former library is damaged underneath the out, but it can be repaired. There is expert knowledge that it can be repaired without fundamentally harming the ecosystem it is. And I understand there are costs on maintaining it. But shit, it's worth maintaining, surely. So there we are. There's my thoughts on that. I shall see thee later.
You've no idea the lightness it brings to my heart being able to confide in you charming young people.